Let's go to Chicago, Illinois, where Christine joins us. Christine, how can we help?
Hi, John. Hi, Ken.
How are
Sorry,
you?
I'm a little nervous right now.
Hey, we're nervous
doing
too. It's
great.
all good. You're
Yeah,
doing great.
Yeah.
What's up?
I have an important question to ask you in regards to job and career. Recently just started a newer job with really good pay. I'm a healthcare provider, working with the underprivileged and making a difference in trying to help these patients.
Awesome.
I'm just wondering at this point, with everything that's going on and trying to mandate the vaccine for healthcare providers in a lot of places, and now knowing that the federal government has implemented it in the VA system, and it might eventually trickle down to private practices and administrations and hospital administrations. How do you feel about compromising your morals for keeping a job?
So explain your moral challenges with this. Even though we don't know if you're going to have this mandate come your way, I do like that you're walking through it, but let's walk it all the way out. If they say you've got to have it for employment, where do you feel like you are sacrificing your morals?
My religious beliefs against the aborted fetal cells that are being used either in the process or in the actual vaccines they have available.
Yeah. Are you leaning towards compromising, or are you leaning towards saying, I can't do this and I got to walk? You were leaning one way or another when you called. Which way are you leaning?
Leaning towards not compromising.
Yeah. So you have to prioritize that. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If this is an integrity thing or a very deep religious held spiritual conviction, I support that. But you got to make plans for it. You've got to know what you can live with and what you cannot. And I will tell you, you need to seek counsel. I've talked to several people in the last month, some on my show, and I've got friends calling me. I've got a friend who called me who's a state employee in another state and feels like it's coming down, and asked me the same question. And he has done some homework. He went and sought legal counsel. And I would seek legal counsel, an employment specialist, and I would get some counsel, maybe 2 or 3 different lawyers, and talk to about the religious exemption. I will tell you that it's going to be, I think, a grab bag, maybe 50-50 as to whether some organizations will say that's okay. Some, I think, will honor the religious exemption. I'm hearing of that, and some will not, and it's going to be a time to choose, unfortunately. That's where we stand. But, look, if you plan for this financially, and you've got a plan for if this happens, what would I do? Meaning I'm going to walk, I'm not going to take it. As long as you got a plan, then I think you have to honor your conviction there. I'm not going to tell you to go against your conviction.
Yeah, and what I would recommend 2 things. Number one, get some information. I've when it comes to the vaccine, I've never heard of the particular challenges you've mentioned. I've tried to stay pretty close to the science on it, but I may be wrong. I've never heard that, so I'd get with some folks you're in the medical field, so you can get some good clarity on that. The second thing is back out of this, because this is a hot moment in history. Back out of this particular issue and ask yourself on any ethical issue. They ask you to start overbilling somebody. They ask you to go ahead and change this number on Medicare. They ask you to fudge your mileage a little bit when you're taking these kids to their appointments. Whatever the thing is, I always want you to double down on doing the right ethical thing for your heart, for your family, for your conscience. And that goes back to what Ken was talking about on any particular issue. That's why the emergency fund is so important. That's why having a network is so important. That's why having friends in your life, friends are your emergency fund for life, right? That's why we do these things, so that when you're faced with situations, regardless of what they happen to be, and you say, I've got to walk out that front door, that you've got a safety net. You've got a cushion there for you, right?
Yeah.
So if you feel like this is coming down, what I don't want you to do is catastrophize it.
Yeah.
I don't want you to set yourself off into fight or flight and start solving problems that aren't there yet. And we can all do that. We can ruminate. We can just sit there and go down internet rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole and make something, our bodies respond to an issue that hasn't even happened yet, right? And we can always get some more information. But do start playing. And if you have to make a hard hard choices, hard changes, have that safety net there.
Well, Christine, the decision's already been made. You've already made the decision, and I respect that.
Right.
I respect men and women who will take a stand on principle, and in this situation, this is a religious conviction. I will tell you, to me, it's about freedom. And, you can do all the research you want to, and somebody can, for every person that says what you say, that, hey, I don't like the way the vaccine's been developed and tested, you'll have somebody that goes, like John, well, I haven't heard that. So I think he's right. You can go do your homework and make sure that you're absolutely sure on that conviction, but do not waver. And, people calling, and I appreciate the call, but people saying, hey, should I do what I think is right, or should I do what I think is expedient for me professionally? And folks, we live in America where we've not had to make a lot of these choices all the time. And John's right. It doesn't always have to be a political vaccine issue, because this has become a political football.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
Yeah.
I don't care what side you're on.
That's why I like to get out of those and say, when you're faced with any
but
sort
you
of
can't get out
issue.
of it. You have to say, in this particular situation, she doesn't feel right about this for the reasons that she left out. Now, you're right to say, go do your research and make sure that you're right, because this is a monumental decision.
Right.
You don't want to make it
right
on opinion or theory. We got to know the facts are the facts that then affect my belief.
Right.
However, you're also right. Yeah. This could be as simple as they're asking you to fudge your expense reports, so that they can cook the books. Right. That's equally wrong. And I would say the same thing. If you feel wrong about that, come up with a plan.
That's right.
You don't have to leave tomorrow.
That's right.
But if you want to leave tomorrow, I'm fine with that too.
That's absolutely right.
But you've got to also have a plan. Conviction is important, but we also need to do it in a way that's wise.
That's right. Yeah,
and I think that you address that.
We say this a lot on the show. Nobody makes good decisions when their head's on fire, right? When they're stressed, and when you spend hours and hours and hours huddled around a water cooler or huddled down internet rabbit holes, man, those are designed to set your body on fire.
Well,
right?
I'm glad you said this, because I'm going to tell you something right now, and you may not agree, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because you and I can disagree agreeably. We do it all the time. But I think you're right. I don't care what the Biden White House is saying, and I don't care what your company is saying. Yeah. On some level, people have rights. Yeah. And you can go seek legal counsel and do your homework. But whatever mandates are coming or not coming, because we don't know that this is coming.
Of course.
We're hearing all kinds of stuff.
Of course.
The reality is there will be legal challenges to this stuff.
Of course there will be.
Which means delays.
Right.
So to your point, let's not all freak out and assume that we got to quit our jobs because somebody's going to make us take a vaccine that we don't want to take.
Yeah. So
let's not jump to that conclusion, because I think that's not that simple.
I've worked for places where I have been asked to be in situations that I'm not comfortable with. The beauty was I'd already thought through my ethical positions. And so when I came home and sat down with my wife and said, hey, here's where we are and here's what it was, it wasn't oh no, what are we going to do? Those were difficult when I owed 6 figures of student loans and we were paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, right? I'd put myself in a position where holding my ethical standards was more difficult.
Yeah. But we appreciate the call, Christine. This is not easy stuff. I love that you're getting out in front of it. But don't make a decision based on fear. Make it based on fact.